Good evening, colleagues from ISA. Good evening, colleagues. Welcome to the exclusively for ISA alumni Create Your Own Economy webinar that is part of the awareness session really that I want to share and create in the ISA community. As you know, my name is Dan Matsapola. Those who were in my class at Stellenbosch University in 2000 would popularly know me as Tsapman. My surname, it seems, has given rise to an innovative name there for me. And it really gives me great pleasure to be part of this community and to look back at the last 20 years or so and to reflect on what I have done really, building on that fantastic 19 years of science training in primary, secondary, tertiary institutions in South Africa. And looking at the last 20 years, what one has been able to achieve, and looking at the challenges, unique challenges we are facing today, and how entrepreneurship and investing, I believe, are the answers to many of our ills. Certainly the triple challenges that our government has identified as some of the big challenges facing our society: poverty, unemployment, and inequality. All right, I see the time is coming down to 18:03, and in honor of those who have made it on time, let me begin and share my screen. And I apologize in advance, Dumisani, that I won't be able to see my messages if you send any messages from now on. So I'm gonna go straight into the sharing of my screen so that I can share with you what I've prepared. Okay, share screen and then get into slideshow mode. All right. So I hope that you can see my screen. I am able to see it. And so I assume that you are all able to see my screen. So I'm going to start. So the presentation webinar outline, Create Your Own Economy, that really was inspired by my journey. It will reflect on my personal journey through the Institute for Satellite and Software Applications at the tender age of 24, and I was with ISA until I was age 32 in 2008. And so I'll go through my programming, you know, like students leaving tertiary institutions. I think many of my colleagues, we all flock to ISA looking for the prospect of a good job with benefits after graduation from those wonderful programs that were run there. My lesson that I learned from the interview, I failed in Centurion. Lessons in entrepreneurship from two of the most influential books in my library that I still consume to this day. I'm going to talk about experimenting with real estate investing without taking lessons. For that period, after ISA so graciously gave me my first job, the Department of Communications, to be more specific. I'll share with you my failures, the tragedy I faced that I liken to the phenomenon called the Van Allen radiation belt in outer space. My first business failure in a partnership, I won't go too much into the details. Many of you would know about that. And when I realized that I was consciously incompetent, didn't know what I was doing. Good reason to start doing something about it. Introduction to the tax law through the multi-level marketing business that I ran from the comfort of my home in Bredasdorp, and working with my first accountant. I never knew I could have an accountant in those days. And then I'll introduce you to Dan M. That's practically me, the investor, the wealth creator, entrepreneur, overlaid on the space scientist, flipping the script that we were all fed. Go to school, get good grades, graduate, get a good job with benefits, versus the script that I've overlaid on top of that in my own life, which is go to school, get good grades, graduate, and build businesses and investment portfolios. And thanks to Robert Kiyosaki, one of my good mentors that I've had, that I've never physically met. It's amazing what you can do through the books that you read and the audio and video recordings that you listen to. Minding your own business. And I here want to take you back to the original mandate. You know, I'm at the space agency today, and we always revert back whenever we draft strategy and wherever we come up with plans to change direction, we always revert back to the mandate. What is your mandate? And I humorously call it the Dan Matsapola Act of 1976. I actually was born in 1976. And yeah, I tried to make that joke with my wife earlier, and she looked at me and just said, I don't know what that means. Okay, so what does it cost? Now, this is deep into the mindset of an entrepreneur and an investor. What does it cost? What did you pay for it? Why pay when you can get it for free? This is a wealth creator's philosophy. It's the one single lesson I've taken from my mentor over the years. He literally said to me, some people pay to live in a house. Other people get paid to live there. Some people pay to drive a car. Other people get paid to drive a car. So some of the jewels I'm going to share with you will help you appreciate that context and that world view. Partnering with the government, my favorite activity by far. Which government? Well, we live in South Africa, so I guess it would be the democratic government, the government of the people, by the people, for the people. The very government that gave me the bursary to study at Stellenbosch, a university whose cost my parents could not afford. So I'm going to take you through doing what the government wants done. And how do you know what the government wants done? It's written in the law. I'll take you through the science, the exact science that is earning of money governed by laws. And I'll take you through my favorite law, which is the law of compensation. And then we'll go to where to from here. Yeah, I'll share my thoughts on what we should do. All right. So the ISA opportunity, 1998, 2005. I was there from 2000, just for the record. And a little bit of background would be interesting. When I was doing my honors at the University of Limpopo in 1999, I heard of this opportunity. Well, because there were TEFLUOP graduates, University of Limpopo graduates. At that time, it was University of the North. Graduates who actually had gone through the ISA program. I personally knew the likes of Joe Powell. I knew, you know, Mishak Makafula. In fact, Mishak was the real driver, because everybody told us, hey, that program at ISA, man, people who go through there, they get jobs, they get absorbed into industry, and man, some buy cars in their first years. And now, you know that I don't think any marketing guru would do better than that kind of advertisement at university to say, listen, your success is almost guaranteed. At that time, I had been in school since 1982 in the Limpopo province, and I was strictly Limpopoan through and through. So I looked at ISA as an opportunity to expose me to fields of strategic importance and fields that would be in high demand, because I wasn't so sure that even with my honors degree that would immediately land a job. I knew that as all Limpopoan graduates, I would be destined to the Gauteng province. That's where my brother was. That's where many of my colleagues living Limpopo through the N1 would be destined for Gauteng. And so you probably would have seen in December the traffic buildup. That is still the case to this day. So Gauteng is the economic hub. We even imported the premier from Limpopo in Gauteng. So it's Gauteng and Tatemakura. That's just part of some of the jokes we would share. These pictures that are here invoke a memory. They invoke an emotion within me. These are not just pretty pictures. These are pictures that represented a change in direction, a change in course for me, for the Limpopo rural boy, who for the first time found himself on an aeroplane leaving Polokwane Airport via what was then Jan Smuts in Johannesburg to Cape Town. And you know, the first time you do anything, it is exciting. It is also signifying the change in trajectory, introduction of a new era. Cape Town, I mean, I had taken a tour to Cape Town as part of the student community at TEFLUOP, and yeah, some magic happened in that trip. And I had this longing to go back to Cape Town. Now, this time, I wasn't going for a trip and coming back. I was going to be based in the Western Cape for a whole year. I would be living, we were told, living next to the beachfront. Oh my goodness. I remember I didn't know anything about isiXhosa language. We got off the airport in Cape Town and I saw a sign saying Lughawe. I thought, hey, this must be a Xhosa word for Lugawe. And I thought, hey, Lugawe. So I said it out loud, being the talkative guy that I am, you know, Lugawe, and everybody was finished on the floor in the bars, like, hey, chief, that's Lekhave, me bro. This is Afrikaans. This is not Xhosa. And immediately I was introduced to the context of where I was. So I am that guy over there in this picture. This is a picture that was taken of my class with some of the guys who were doing the master's program. I mean, I'm that little guy over there with a nice smile behind Tsepo and behind the late Prof. Du Plessis. I must confess, this was by far my favorite of all my lecturers. No offense intended to all the others, some of whom I've subsequently worked with in the space industry. And this logo, I mean, it is signifying us being introduced into that wonderful opportunity, living in the Western Cape. And my parents were in Limpopo enjoying their retirement. And there was an issue there, like this last born of ours is going so far away where none of them had ever been. And you can imagine the mental shift that is required. What if you get sick there? And of course, you all know we are from an African setting. What if they bewitch you there? You know, what's going to happen? And hey, like, hey, and I'm not really armed. I'm going to defend myself against the, you know, magic of Africa. Now, okay. December 2000, graduate with a postgraduate diploma in satellite engineering. PDE, popularly known as PDE, introducing us to engineering science. And so go home in December, wonderful, excited, you know, we graduated. And of course, I was staying with Benji Malebana, and Benji says, I said to Benji, hey, Bafan, I've been in school since 1982. This is 19 consecutive years. I don't think my parents can take another year. It's about time that I go and find a job and put food on the table. Benji said, hey, now I'm going for I am going for master's degree. I say, hey, Bafana, you are brave. You and the guys that are going for a master's degree for another 2 years, I take off my hat for you. I think my bus stops here. I'm going to get experience on applying this. So, attended a few interviews in Gauteng, family tried to support me to say, hey man, this is wonderful qualification. You should get a job there. Let's take you to this one who can assist a family member there. And eventually the department gives interview in Pretoria. I attend that interview and I'm so excited to be going back to the Western Cape. But for the second time now, I have to sell to my parents this story that I'm going back, this time not for 1 year study at Stellenbosch University based in Frabo. No. I'm selling them the idea that I may even have to get my first house there. I may even have to, and now, of course, the worry is no longer what if you get bewitched, parents are worried about those details. Now the worry is, hey, are you not going to bring us those Xhosa girls back to Limpopo who can speak Sepedi? Now, these are the realities. I'm bringing you to soft landing on the introduction to my early life in the Western Cape and the transition to help you understand what one had to deal with in those days. And, my father had never been to the Cape, let alone live there. Neither had my mother. So it was a real serious move. Now, I got a job and they said I'll be based at the Overbeck test range. So I would have to live in a remote little town called Bredasdorp and travel in between the town and the satellite ground station. I would be tracking satellites, low Earth orbiting satellites, using a parabolic dish antenna. I've just used a picture, but the picture there is the one in Hattibieshoek. But this is a 12-meter antenna. The one I was using was a 10-meter parabolic dish antenna, supplying data to the space girls. There were people called the space girls. I know some of them hate this title with a passion, but I'm just telling the story as it is, as it was. The remote sensing unit at ESA was there to receive the data from low Earth orbiting satellites from the government-rented satellite ground station at Denel Overbeck test range. It's called OTB because the Afrikaans word is Overbeck Toetsbaan. So the popular word there is OTB, not OTR. But the website says OTR. It's 110 kilometers away from ESA. So we would drive there with DLT tapes with data on them and deliver them to Tim Boyle's unit, to Tumisang, Mule, Zipo, those ladies that were involved in remote sensing that had studied in Toulouse. And one of the first lessons that I learned was, and of course, when you have your first job, I had to repay my TEFSA. It became NSFAS. So my financial statement was income, expenses, liability. First liability was the one that I had accumulated from my university days because, we got those bursaries that if you passed in a certain way, it would be a comprehensive bursary. But if you did not meet the requirements, but you still passed, then a portion would be a grant and a portion would be paid back. So for 3 years after working, I had to pay back this. So I'm the last born. So I didn't have any children at that time. So I had a fresh start. This was what you call clean slate, great opportunity. And being the last born, I didn't have to look after any younger siblings. So no black tax issues were applicable to me. Now, one of the first lessons I want to share with you that I've learned was this. You see, until then, I was dependent on my parents. In April 2001, when I got that job, I thought, yes, I'm economically independent. I read a book by Dr. Stephen R. Covey called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. In the same year, 2002, that I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad the book that I credit with changing my life and my outlook on life and my philosophy that I hold dear to this day. I discovered that actually I did not become independent. I just substituted dependence on my parents with dependence on my employer. Hey, that didn't go down well with me because it was a wake-up call to say, oops, young man, you are not really independent. You've just substituted your source of dependence. Okay. Like I say, I read those two books. Wake Up Call was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, 2002, while tracking satellites at OTB. It said what the rich teach their children about money that the poor and the middle class do not. And I believe I was in the middle class because my parents were both government employees, retired government employees. My father was a teacher, and I think I've taken from my father. I'm a teacher. I come from a family of teachers. And so my father was a teacher, my grandfather was a teacher, my great-grandfather. Basically, we are the pioneers in the education sector. And so we really take pride in using education as the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. I believe Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the best accounting book ever written. And it is certainly the book that has changed my life. Just to take you back to 1990 when I had to make subject choices at Pex High School. And I am that guy over there, you know, who can basically give you a Mawashi Geri. Okay, so that's me in the early 1989, 1990 there at Pex, a boys-only boarding school run by Catholic missionaries. And you can see that one of the reasons I think my English is so good, and I'm not blowing my own horn, I have been told that I rarely make grammatical errors. So I was taught by people, the Brothers of Charity from Belgium, from different parts of Europe, and we also had some visitors from United States. So, well, Mr. Lynch, Mr. Jim O'Connor, and I forgot the other guy, Pat McCabe. These guys have trained us. They spoke American English, and you know, as a rural Limpopo boy, you have to listen very carefully because you don't really understand what they're saying, you know, so you try to adjust to that. It helped me later in life when I had to adjust to a totally different environment because I was already tuned in. I didn't suffer that problem of rural learners who get to university and look at the professor's beard for the first 3 months before they even see what that he's saying, something they must listen to help them pass. I was confronted with making a choice. I loved the subject called accounting very, very much. There were teachers who made me fall in love. I mean, these guys would come to class and say, make us remember the definition of accounting every single day. Like, what is accounting? If you don't know it, stand to the left. If you know it, go to the right. And you know, those who don't know that definition, hey, you're gonna get hammered. Your fingernails, your fingertips, and you're gonna be hammered. Corporal punishment was still part of the equation in those days. And you know, boys, we always laugh at the ones who cry like they're not men enough, you know. So this man every day required us to come into class and say, accounting is the art of recording, classifying, and summarizing transactions in a significant manner and interpreting the results thereof. If you missed any part of that definition, you would be in trouble. So come subject choice, I was torn between science because I loved maths. My father made me fall in love with mathematics through a game called Casino and the fact that he was such a good maths teacher himself. Accounting, I loved it because the teachers were great, but come to subject choice, I had to make one subject choice and they said, you can't have both of them. One takes you through the commercial subjects, commercial stream, the other one, the science stream. And my teachers told me that science is the future. They never got into the details of how science is the future, just said science is the future, and I was sold. My father wanted me to study agriculture because I grew up on a farm that belongs to the family and other families, very close-knit group of people that acquired land before 1994. So he wanted me to study agriculture, so I come back and farm without having to buy land, and the tools were there. He had invested heavily in that. And so Isa, like I say, I was woken up by Rich Dad Poor Dad in 2002. I experimented with property investments in 2002 to 2004. A colleague, the late Farui, was selling her flat, and I needed, no one was showing interest at work, and she was trying to say, man, I'm selling the flat, I'll cut the price. And, you know, when I deliver satellite images, I would meet her and she would say, are you still interested then? And I would say, yeah, I'm interested. So we negotiated it down from a price to almost half of that price. And it was fantastic. I bought it. And I remember the ladies, you know, who were there, the friends of mine, Abu Mahoshi, and they were saying, why are you buying in Helden Park when there is new development next door, you know, Savannah Mews and all of those. So I was buying a relatively older flat. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I had read Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know, the excitement of coming out of that book, knowing that, you know what, I can take the world now. So long story short, that flat became the test bed for experimenting and learning the principles and getting my fingers burned a little bit. You see, I was programmed to buy property in my own name, and that's generally how we are programmed. I want to own it. It's mine, sole proprietor, despite the disadvantages of unlimited liability and all of that. And I was also programmed to think that it takes money to make money. I say S&T money there. See, in 2002, just before I took that trip to Australia to go and study space weather forecasting to bring that capability back to South Africa, because it was decided it was a strategic investment in space that we must make as a country. So I was part of the 3-man team that went to Australia in 2002. And when I came back, I didn't even that was my first international trip. And this was in the year we had connection to Mark Shuttleworth in outer space. So it was the honeymoon phase of employment. No problems at that point, except I lived 2,000 kilometers away from home. So, and I came back from Australia, and there was this thing called S&T, and I had lots of it. And I, you know, oh my goodness, I was loaded. I didn't know that you could actually have that. I just knew I earned a salary, you know, and I'm the 100,000 guy because my first salary for the first year was 100,000 a year, gross income. So 2003, well, in June, I lost my mother. In September, I lost my father. And in December, I was a divorcee. Oh my goodness, this was serious pain. So effectively, I experienced my first partnership failure because there were some business transactions we had done together there. And this was a real paradigm shift. I never thought in my whole life I would ever be divorced. You know, who goes into marriage thinking of divorce, really? But life was saying, young man, wake up, wakey, wakey. Yeah, I couldn't cope with the loss of my parents within 3 months of each other. That was a serious sudden emotional shock to my system. I was angry at the world. So I imagine I wasn't a fantastic partner, especially over a long distance relationship. So, hey, I was in trouble. So after that, I still had that flat and I had tenants, and one of the tenants was giving me trouble, and the estate agent, you know, almost, I hadn't taken any lessons except read Rich Dad Poor Dad. So eventually I stepped in, and that was a bad idea because this guy now was taking me for a ride, and eventually I kicked him out of my flat. And I realized in those moments that I really didn't know what I was doing. That was a fantastic position to be at, to know that you don't know what you don't know. Because when you know that you don't know what you don't know, then you can do something about it. So I wanted to become the great investor. And I had not taken lessons beyond reading a fantastic book that shared with me ideas, including the idea that my job was not an asset. Said, what? Oh my goodness. What is an asset? It's that which put money in your pocket, whether you work or not. My job only put money in my pocket when I worked. When I stop working, the money stops coming. Hey, is it possible for me to get paid even when I'm not working? Like earn more money while I'm sleeping than I can spend when I'm awake? That was an exciting idea for me, and I couldn't shut up. I'm a talkative guy, as you can read. Those who know me well will know, hey, this guy talks too much. So it is my gift. I think this is where my gift is wrapped up in my capacity to communicate. No investing education, only had academic training for a job. So I realized that I didn't know. And in Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki says, find a mentor, someone who has done what you would like to do. In other words, someone who earns money while they are sleeping, more money while they are sleeping than they can spend when they are awake. And they must be willing to teach you, because otherwise, how else would you get their knowledge? I started looking and I found some guy who was making big promises, like huge promises. This guy was saying, in one day, I can teach you how to become a professional property investor. I said, huh? He said, he advertised the workshop actually, that in one day, I will teach you 5 ways to buy property for free. And you get it, you earn passive income streams from it immediately. For a rural Limpopo boy, this was too good to be true. What is this about? And some people, of course, you know me, I share opportunities. When I come across something, I share. But that is my nature. That is just a gift. I'm a giver. I love giving and sharing. If I go through something fantastic, I want to share it with the world. And people were saying, then, what are you doing with these white people's things? Stay away from these things, Muna. You already went to school. You have a nice job tracking satellites. Probably you are the first one in your family. What are you doing faffing around with these things called investments? And when they would say, Chief, if you want to do business and do entrepreneurship, then resign and go do those things. Don't do them here. This is where you work. You can't do both. Which means you cannot serve 2 masters, really. But something inside me said, man, I think I can handle both these things and not compromise either. In fact, in Rich Dad Poor Dad, Kiyosaki says, the more you invest in yourself and mind your own business, the more valuable you become to your employer too, because now you understand how to create value. Now you understand how to add value and how companies work, and you become a true asset to your employer while not neglecting your real mandate on earth that you didn't get from any human being. You got from God himself. So I studied property beginners course, 1-day property workshop in Belleville, there at Stellenbosch University, Belleville campus, on a Saturday. I used to attend, seminars. I would drive after tracking satellites in my car after I had a car in 2004. Drive to Cape Town to just attend one-way drive, 190 kilometers, and come back after the workshop is done around 8:30 and arrive close to midnight at home and have to wake up and go to work. So I was prepared to put in the time. I was prepared to put in the money, and I really wanted to know these things. And a lot of the people I studied with studied economics, and they said, so what do you do? I said, I'm a scientist in the space industry. I track satellites. They said, hey, it's going to be tough for you, eh? You are not going to cope very much. These are accountants, these are chartered accountants, these are tax practitioners, these are attorneys, these are property lawyers, and these are bond originators. I mean, these are people who are in the field, and I'm just a guy who has nothing but interest. So I signed up for a mentorship program for 5 years. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I live like a king today. And what really excites me about sharing the opportunities that I'm sharing through entrepreneurship and investing is because I've learned true entrepreneurship. You see, there is entrepreneurship, then there is wealth creator entrepreneurship. Totally different approaches. One says you need money to make money. The other says you need skills to make money. You have all the opportunities surrounding you, the greatest of which lies within you, and it lies in your gift. But if you learn the skill to start a business with no money, my goodness, young man, you are set for life. And so that guy, that Afrikaner guy that I've been with, called Dr. Hannes Dreyer, the Burki who could hardly speak English, taught me everything I know today. These are the 7 laws. They are actually 8, but he called them the 7 laws of a property investor. And I was struggling in my first investment because I didn't invest in myself first before I invested a cent in any business or property investment, any investment of any kind. You have to take lessons first. You don't fly the entrepreneurial skies without first taking lessons and taking lessons on how to deploy that parachute you may need in an emergency when this aircraft of yours is getting into funny modes. So I realized that I'm sitting on gold here. And they said to me, listen, the rich don't work for money. That's Robert Kiyosaki. Hannes Dreyer was challenging me and says, you see, the problem, young man, is that you went to school. Take all those bloody degrees that they gave you, put them under the mattress and come to my workshops. And I'll teach you everything you need to become like me, to become better than me. I was really offended. I'm a guy with a bachelor's degree in maths and science and honors in physics and a postgrad from Stellenbosch that has so much promise for the future in the space industry. This guy says, take all of that stuff, put it under the mattress, come to me. I'll teach you everything you need to know about entrepreneurship, and you can bake as many wealth cakes as you want. You can buy and build your own wealth factory in the comfort of your own home, and you can be as rich as you want. It sounded like a pipe dream, and many reminded me that it was, but I stuck to the process. I invested heavily in myself because I knew that I didn't know any of these things from the degrees that I studied. And at that one-day workshop, this guy showed me the opposite, counterintuitive reality that the lower the risk, the higher the growth. That's not what you hear from the average salesman, financial planner, or people who sell insurance. They say, you must take risks to make money. He says that is the most stupid thing you can ever do. It is the risk that kills your business ventures. It is the risk that kills all businesses and investment portfolios. Why would you deliberately introduce it when there are so many inherent risks that are within the property from any business, farming, agriculture, because I grew up on a farm. So I was automatically catapulted into farming business when my parents left. And it's one thing to do farming under the guidance of my dad, who had experience of years. And it's quite another to think after he's gone that I'll just take over and run things. You get into employee problems, you are 2,000 kilometers away, you get into all sorts of problems. Suddenly the soil that was very fertile, they tell you it cannot produce. What do you mean the soil? I grew up in that soil. Well, these are some of the challenges, human resource issues and headaches. So agriculture became a black hole. So I stuck to something I understood. I took lessons in, it's called real estate. And he asks, how hard is your money working for you? See, young men, you go and work for money. You get paid after tax. And if you don't know how to employ this money, man, you're going to be a perpetual dependent all your life. You were born financially dependent, you will die financially dependent. Especially that when you started working, you just substituted the source of your dependence financially or economically, being your parents, with your employer. I was perplexed. I realized that I couldn't go back. It was tempting to go back, especially when people were saying, hey, this is a white man's stuff, man. Leave that stuff alone. And of course, from time to time, people were saying, man, you're still with that guy. Because they thought, in 5 years, you'll just have this quick, rich scheme. Boom, you are rich. It is a process, ladies and gentlemen. So when I was at university, they asked me, this is University of Limpopo, Tevluop campus, the Faculty of Maths and Natural Sciences that gave me 2 degrees. They asked me one day, what do you want to be when you grow up? Hey, me being me and loving things, gratadilo. I said, I want to be a minimalist. They said, what is that? I couldn't describe it. It just felt natural to say that. I said, I want to be someone who gets maximum value out of minimum input. He said, hey, that guy was a career counselor, I think, was not impressed. He said, listen, stop with this nonsense of yours. Because everybody else was saying, I want to be a pharmacist. I want to be dentist. I want to all the nice scientific careers. And I said something that totally was causing problems. And I'm sharing with you my favorite scientist of all time. This guy, Sir Albert Einstein, says education is not just the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. Ladies and gentlemen, I discovered that I wasn't thinking at all. It was a real wake-up moment for me. I was not thinking, especially when I came across Dr. Ken McFarland's statistics that said, in the whole world, only 2% of the population think, 3% think that they think, 95% would rather die than think. I took comfort in the fact that I know I'm not in the 95% that would rather die than think, but I knew that I had never taken thinking lessons. No, I took lessons on how to pass modules and subjects and graduate, satisfy the university's requirement for this degree. At that workshop in Belleville in September 2005, I came home with a manual, and Hannes Dreyer at the back of that manual gave us a list of books that we needed to read. One of them was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You should have seen the excitement on my face to say, yes, I'm already on the right track. One of the other books that he recommended that caught my eye was Robert Kiyosaki's book 2. He calls it Rich Dad, Poor Dad book 2. It's actually titled Cash Flow Quadrant, Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant. And it talks about the 4 people that make up the world of business. Employees, and I already was an employee of the Department of Communications, based at OTB, tracking satellites. Business owners, I wasn't a business owner in 2002. I was now beginning to regret my 1990 subject choice now. What do I need to become a business owner? They say you need capital. All right, it's to switch off because you're thinking you need money to start a business. And that's a popular belief many people peddle. Investors, I just remembered those financial mathematics equations and realized, that wasn't necessarily my favorite. I loved the other parts of mathematics. Financial maths, I would study and pass, but you wouldn't find me talking about it. Self-employed, said, who wants to sit at home? Because that was my perception at that time. So, and then I started reading this book. To this day, every single day of my life, I still reading this book. I will never stop reading this book because this book gave me a model that I could follow. I was excited when Robert Kiyosaki, the author, said, you can earn money as an employee, you can earn money as a business owner, you can earn money as an investor, and you can earn money as a self-employed. You can do all these things at the same time. I said, what? That was the most exciting because I really love space. I didn't want to leave a career, a fantastic career in the space industry. It was the most exciting industry I had ever been in or even dreamed about being in. So I was never going to leave the space industry just because I'm going to pursue a business interest. And, I decided that I was going to use my time fruitfully and invest in myself and pursue this model. So to this day, I am an employee of the space agency. I believe that is the space agency in the world. And people ask me, why do you say so? I say, well, I work there. It's the best space agency because I work there. I mean, why would I be there if it wasn't the best? So this is my model. And for those of you who are interested in entrepreneurship, I encourage you to read Robert Kiyosaki's book, but not just read it. Many people say, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. It's not enough to read it. You actually must apply that knowledge and implement it and be the go-to guy. Like I am the go-to guy in terms of this. If you really want to know how to apply this to create your own economy, it doesn't get better than me. There are many others, but I believe I am in the top 3%, not in South Africa, but in the world, because I have experience. I am not talking about a book I read. I have experience in implementing these ideas that Kiyosaki talks about. I have turned my annual income into my monthly income. I have experienced earning money while I'm sleeping, and being able to have what we call, the ultimate word in wealth is this word that starts with O. It's called options. Options. If you only have options that are available based on the man-made platform called the job, where you get paid after tax, hey, you are going to live within very restricted means, my friend. And the chances of delivering a successful life assignment from God during your lifetime are very slim. Description restricts you. You work within that parameter. It's like a cage that has been created for a bird, or a pond, that has been created for fish. When these guys were actually designed to fly the entrepreneurial skies, to swim the vastness of the ocean, and you are restricted only to that little pond in the dentist's office. So I don't like limits. I'm an unlimited being of infinite worth. So entrepreneurship and investing are the key to unlocking Africa's massive socio-economic and environmental benefits and building the economy that government challenges us to build. It's called a globally competitive economy made up of the economies, individual economies of South Africans. So whenever people tell me that South Africa is rich, Africa is rich, I remind them that no. Don't look at the mineral deposits and all the things that we are endowed with in abundance and the wonderful weather and climate that we have, no earthquakes and stuff like that, and say we are rich. The only way Africa is rich is when Africans are rich. This is called the inside-out approach to development. If you call people rich because they live in Sandton, hey man, you could be renting in Sandton and making other people rich. And so you are not necessarily rich. Riches must be based on the individual's capacity to create their own economy, irrespective of what is happening in the national economy, in the global economy. When the markets go up, we make money. When the markets go down, we make money. Who are we? We are wealth creator entrepreneurs. We are master property investors. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a journey. It takes time, and I'm emphasizing this. And you really have to take full responsibility. No one owes you anything there. My black skin means nothing. So that I cannot benefit because of the color of my skin. There is nothing that will come to me because I am black. In fact, I'm at a disadvantage because I am Black, because I'm starting from behind. However, the greatest advantage I have is the hunger that I have for this promised land, that I can actually experience abundance in every area of my life. That, my friends, that was the driver. Even when I felt like giving up, I said, if I'm giving up, I was watching Will Smith's movie on Serena and Venus Williams. These ladies in tennis. And that man says in that movie, you know that when you step on that court, you are not representing yourself, you're not representing your family, you are representing every Black child in this on this planet. This is what I took with my opportunity to say, I'm gonna go and I'm going to, because it was a question of killing myself, literally speaking, because it is killing the ideas that I had fallen in love with, the ideas that had kept me in the academic system on the promise that one day I will have a wonderful job with benefit. Now I have to kill this idea within me and replace it with a different idea that says, don't go to school, graduate so you can get a good job with benefits. Go to school, graduate, and start businesses and investment portfolios. Create jobs for others. Don't just become a job consumer. So let's move along. You can see this is a subject that is very close to my heart. And so I'm very passionate about this. I teach my children this. I tell them, listen, I was taught go to school like other children, wear uniform. But of course, in high school, I haven't worn uniform since high school. Maybe that's why I'm an out of the box kind of thinker. I'm not straight-jacketed by being like other children. I am unique, and so is everybody on this planet. We are all geniuses if we are all from the same factory floor where there are no factory faults. So let me tell you about Dan M, the entrepreneur. See, I told you about the investor, and infinite return on investment is my favorite. Why would I settle for anything? The day I knew that I can get infinite return on investment, oh my God, that day, on a Saturday in September 2000, the first Saturday of September 2005 in Belleville, I knew that I'm a multi-millionaire. I knew it, and people said, show us the assets, show us the bank statement that you're a multi-millionaire. I say, oh my goodness, many people don't realize everything is created twice. It's first in the mind. You first become it in the mind, then it manifests in its manifested self. Then you begin to see and by the time the world catches on to these things that we see, smell, hear, taste, and touch, because the world is really programmed to live through the five senses. If we can't see, smell, hear, taste, and touch it, hey, we think it doesn't exist. We think it's phantom, it doesn't exist. And that is why many people think that we are our bodies. Why? Because, hey man, I look in the mirror when I'm gymming there, I see sweat coming down my body. On my six-pack, I'm not to brag, but there is actually a six-pack. It disappears from time to time, but then it comes back. So we think we are the body, and man, there are so many things that we got wrong. We got the wrong order on. So after I met Hannes Dreyer, I disinvested in multi-level marketing business, which was really my first business. I was distributing product for companies like Swissguard, Herbalife. I was into health. My top three goals are still health, wealth, and happiness. Health is critical, more so now during the pandemic than ever before. Today, I lose my health, man, I may lose my life as a result. So I pay attention to my health. I started taking lessons on Hannes Dreyer, who had a personal challenge for himself. I was so excited after leaving Belleville in September 2005. I bought the Advanced Property Investors course. And this didn't come cheap. Between those two courses, they took my entire monthly salary for that month, because I took my wife with me. You know, we are the executives who are charged with the responsibility to grow this African household economy in the Daniel family, the Matsapola family. So if I study alone, this is my stuff. When I'm gone, and I can easily go, don't know when I'm going. I live every day as if it's my last. When I'm gone, they will be stuck with my stuff. And in no time, this stuff will follow me to my grave. So I have to make sure that I train my fellow executive. I train my own children. They must know that the primary teacher is not somebody at primary or high school or even tertiary, for those of my children that are tertiary institutions. Primary teacher is me. I am the king. I must teach them everything that they need to know about life. And I will subcontract a part of my teaching to academic institutions and not make academic institutions the mainstream. This is one of the biggest lessons I have learned, because otherwise we blame the teacher for no reason. Oh, the children are failing. Why are they failing? Oh, no, their life is going to be doomed. What do you mean? These are beings of infinite worth, mandated by God to be on this planet, to be guided by those that he entrusted their training and the development of their gifts to. So what if I haven't developed my own gift? How can I pass what I don't have to my children? Ladies and gentlemen, this is enough reason for us to go to the drawing board and go to that position I was in 2004, where I realized I don't know that I don't know what I don't know. I need help. Go to a white man and ask for help. And these guys, even during apartheid, experienced these things while we were locked up under legislated apartheid that prohibited us from participating in the mainstream economy. Now, the gates have been opened. And what? We're going to still sit back and wait for government to be the economic parent and parent me? I'm grateful for government's intervention, taking me through ISA. That was government investing in young black talent. But I had a duty to reciprocate and invest in myself so that I can become the king that I was created by God to become. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no better feeling than feeling like you are the king. So, Hannes Dreyer had a challenge. He structured this challenge in such an interesting way. Many people said this is impossible. You can't do that. It is impossible. What do you mean? He said he has 1,000 Rand maximum. And he's setting a challenge to take that 1,000 Rand, no more, not 1,001 Rand, 1,000 maximum, convert it to 10 million, more than 10 million in less than 5 years. And he's not going to use any of his existing security because he already was an entrepreneur. He was, a former top financial planner. So studying from that kind of a guy was like Moses getting the 10 commandments from heaven itself. It was fantastic. That guy is a fearless lion. I owe many of my insights and my transformation in thinking to that Afrikaner man, but most importantly to his wife, who actually told him to get out of retirement and go and teach other people how he became top 25 in South Africa in the insurance game, how he became the $1 million round table, how he became top of the table. And man, oh man, these are achievements that are very rare, very unique, and particularly to achieve them by such a young age of 35. I think that we really, if we really focused, our children don't have to go through what we went through. I certainly know that I want my children and African children in general to become millionaires by age 10 and to become billionaires by age 21. Because when we have this knowledge, and we understand what the laws of our country, the tax laws of our country, that were not written for lawyers, that were not written for tax consultants and accountants, but they were written for the citizen who never makes time to read them. When we understand what they provide for, my goodness, there is no reason for any African child to suffer. And this is why I came to this platform to say, guys, we are sitting on multiple gold mines. And I have gone through that transformation. I've gone through that journey, and I have not finished by any long shot. I am just getting started because there is more and more and more that we can do. I followed Hannes Dreyer in that 10 million rand challenge of his and witnessed him using out of that 1,000 rand, only 79 cents. And converting that into more than 10 million rand in 2 years and 3 months. This is not something easy to believe. If I were to go to an audience and tell them that I actually experienced that live, I wouldn't be surprised if they stoned me to death. Why? Because people say, hey, don't come and play games with us here. So at first, I also felt like that when he was advertising 5 ways to buy property for free and earn money immediately, not wait until you break even. Make money from the first month. And you can get other people doing stuff for you, dedicating their time to your businesses while you're brushing your six-pack and working. Is there an audio challenge, Mr. Sondlo? Should I continue, or is there a challenge with continuing?
Please continue, sir. It was a small hiccup.
It was a small hiccup. Thank you very much. Oh, Lerato, the inspiration. Hey, this lady, let me shut up. You will disrupt my thought pattern, my thought flow here. Okay, so then the investor is made. I'm happy with then the investor. But now there is this entrepreneur thing. And through that challenge of a Burki, he's a very handsome guy. Eh? You see him with a white shirt and a red tie. Man, you buy everything he sells. And for me, it was like, I was like, most of the time, huh? Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so I bought everything. There isn't a single course that he offered that I didn't do. I was, by the way, his top student. My goodness, I was so committed. I was putting in the time. I was submitting my assignment. I was hungry for knowledge. I wanted to know. I wanted to become one with this subject called wealth creation. I saw it as the answer to Africa's problems. Because, you know, when we are told that, you know, you're going to benefit from something because it was meant for you. Because you are black. Hey man, I never wanted that stuff. To this day, my friends, my financial statement, income statement, balance sheet, and the statement of cash flow, there isn't a single politician who can put an asset on my asset register. None. Not the mayor of City of Tshwane, where I live. Not the premier of Gauteng, who happens to be my homeboy. Not the president of South Africa, who is a billionaire himself. I don't need those people to create anything for me. What they have created is a stable environment, and the laws have been written. They change from time to time, and I need to constantly keep abreast of these changes so that I take advantage of that which is provided to me. I take advantage of that which is applicable to me. That which doesn't apply to me, I don't even put on my radar screen. So if government wants anything done, they write tax incentives into the tax law. If government wants us to give our children 23,800 rand in interest income because it is tax exempt for individuals below age 65. They write it into the tax law. Now, the duty of a citizen is to find out how to get it. I tell my children about it, and you think when they know, they're going to just say, okay, Papa, thanks for telling us that we are actually by law, the law provides for us to get 23,000 up to 23,800 tax exempt interest income as individuals from a South African source. And that there is an income tax threshold of 87,300 Rand. Together, when they combined, they collectively make 111,100 Rand. This is minimum wage in South Africa, not 350. It's over 9,000 Rand a month. Standard. Every citizen should get this. But it's not a question of filling a form and going there and standing in a queue and saying, yeah, my bank account is this one, give it to me. You actually have to think. You actually have to read the law, the provisions of the law, and you actually have to adjust your life, structure your life in such a way that you can take advantage of these stimulus packages. It's not different from the research and development tax incentive that is published on the Department of Science and Innovation's website. I mean, it's there. Government wants us to do research and development. I do it not because government wants it done. I do it because I know there is infinity that is lying dormant within me. There is an entire universe within me that is awaiting me to discover it, to explore it, and to exploit it to whatever ends I desire. And I really have a dream to be the African billionaire. And I am tuned into the frequency of the African billionaire who changed the world by changing himself. So government speaks in writing the law. Government wants us to invest in specific fields. They incentivize us to do so. They set up IDZs. They set up, my goodness, government is very elaborate about wanting us to do certain things. President takes captains of industry to Davos to go and attract investors, leaving investors right here. And the only missing link there is that the system of education doesn't prepare us for that reality. And so I am not here to condemn the education system because I know that it is a system. The word system means there is the government, there is the curriculum, there are the parents who release the children in school transport, in a system to go to schools and back home and watch TV and drink beer and watch soccer. Waste a lot of time watching soapies and gossip. We are wasting a lot of time. We Africans cannot afford, we cannot afford to behave like those who already grew up under privilege. We are coming from a back foot. Every opportunity should be invested towards catching up if we are to change Africa's trajectory. And I am the light. I am saying I have found the answer to poverty, unemployment, and inequality. And I'm saying the greatest words I can ever utter is follow me. But then we don't know what you did. Well, I write at every opportunity I get. I share on Facebook. I am sharing right now. So from following Hannes Dreyer and watching him do stuff that I thought was out of this world, I realized that it's not enough for me to say, oh, I've witnessed it. I myself needed to do it, and I did. I'm currently running my own personal challenge to convert 0 Rand, 0 cents. Yes, I know. If you have challenges with accepting that reality, you are not alone. I was there myself. Just don't stone me. because then you won't get the answer. Come to me, pay me. This is valuable stuff. Instead of buying beer, buy knowledge. I sell light so that we can remove this darkness called ignorance and bring into our consciousness the fact that we can literally create our own economy. These are some of the terms that I've learned. And I learned that, if all I do is just have a job at the space agency, I will be perpetually dependent until I leave this planet. Because financial independence comes from passive income streams. Oh, I see a storm is forming in Pretoria now. Heavy rains are coming down. So financial independence, you can only attain it if you generate passive income streams. Passive income is income that you earn from assets. The average African household of a university graduate has no assets whatsoever. And that is my problem statement. We were programmed to work for money, minding other people's businesses. I got paid to mind the Department of Communications business in outer space, CSIR's business in space at the Satellite Application Center. Now I'm getting paid to mind my current employer, Sansa's business in outer space. That is not my business. That is my job. I can lose that job. I can get ill and I can die. I can resign. I can be fired. I'm one of the top performers, by the way. And I believe what Robert Kiyosaki said in Rich Dad Poor Dad, the more you invest in yourself, the more valuable you become, but not just to your employer. I mean, really, for God so loved the world that Dan had to be born so that Dan can bring something unique to the world, without which the world is starved and relegated to its suffering that it had been suffering for long periods of time before Dan was even born. And I'm going to reduce my life to just being an employee. I'm an employer too. I create jobs. I'm a South African who actually helps to rebuild the economy, create jobs for young people. My own children never have to look for jobs unless they want to, because I will make sure that they have access to the machinery that I have created with their mother in two of Southern Africa's great economies, South Africa and Botswana. So, ladies and gentlemen, the problem doesn't lie anywhere else, but it's in mindsets, long-standing mindsets. Government becomes a perpetual economic parent to a child who never grows up. Give me, give me, give me. Enough. Thank you, government, for giving me the PDE from Stellenbosch University. Thank you for giving me the job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But sit back now. I got this, okay? I got this. I have now reconnected with my childhood self. I now understand my purpose on earth. I was not created by government. I was created by God, okay, to deliver something unique in my lifetime. And that something unique is light where there is darkness, because the two cannot coexist. So I bring light, and I challenge you, my fellow ISA alumni, to say, let's stop hiding behind little things. That we didn't study economic subjects like accounting, economic management, science. Tax law is just mind-boggling to a scientist. That should not be an excuse. Let us demonstrate the true power of science, because the earning of money, it's an exact science governed by laws. These are not man-made laws, because if they were, we would get worried that some politician would change them. Luckily, they cannot be changed. The little African household assets that are there are not institutionalized. Like I say, first property, my personal name. Second one, partnership, that failed. Third one, personal name. Fourth one, personal name. In the first 5 years of my job, I had bought 4 properties. Now, you can easily be tempted to think, sure, what's up, man? Hey, you're the man, man. How many properties do you have? Hey, I one day asked that question to my mentor and he chewed me to bits. But I'm still here. He said, you've been following me and you still ask such a stupid question. I say, how is that a stupid question? He said, so you believe it's the number of properties when I have showed you that it is the growth on your investment that determines your success as an investor. You can buy 10 properties that grow at 10% growth per year each. And I buy one that grows at infinite return on investment. And I beat all your 10 with my one. I took a back seat and I swallowed it because that was a moment of awareness. How many properties do you have? I don't answer that question, by the way. I don't. By the way, I don't own any properties anymore. My entities own everything. I own nothing, but I control everything. So I'm the king who reigns over an empire that is ever expanding. Money is just an idea, ladies and gentlemen. It is an idea. We can create money out of thin air. Here is an idea that I was programmed with: work for money, trading time for money. It's a very popular idea because 96% of the world, plus 96% of the world population, earns its money this way. I was programmed with this idea from 1982 all the way to Stellenbosch in 2000. The academic institution programs us to do this. Those who teach us from primary school all the way are earning their money that way. The pastor in church is earning his or her money that way. My mother was a nurse in hospital. Nurses earn money that way. Policemen, everybody earns money this way. So as a child growing up, what chance do you have to even think there is something wrong? Everybody's doing it. And so if everybody is doing it, it must be the right thing. No wonder 3% of the population earn 97% of all the money that is earned, while 97% of the population share the remaining 3%. It's because we are confoculated by paradigms like go to school so you can get a job, good job with benefits. Jobs are temporary, man-made platforms. They can be removed. In times of change, such as we have witnessed with the global pandemic, how many companies went under? Now, suppose I have, put all my faith in this thing called a job. And now, along with the executives in that company, we are all packing our bags and going to look our wives in the eye and say, no more job. Some would even go as far as taking their own lives. We've read of that. Because if you think you are a scientist all your life, that is why generally when people retire, they don't live for more than 10 years after retirement, because they've lost their sense of identity. They've lost their sense of purpose. Job is a launching pad, is the beginning. We are minding other people's businesses. I've minded the government's business and its agencies. CSR and SANSA are agencies of the government. And I love what I do. I've learned massively. I am not there for money. In 2016, I made a decision. I will never in my life work for money, ever again. Kiyosaki said in chapter 1, the rich don't work for money. He said, work to learn. That didn't excite me very much. It just challenged me, but it didn't excite me very much. When I met the mastermind called Bob Proctor from Canada in 2016, and he taught me how the mind works. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He said, listen, if you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. So I go to the space agency to get paid to do what I would have done for free. I love interacting with young people I enjoy shaping the future of South Africa and Africa's economy. So I would be found engaging with young people, whether I get paid or not. It so happens to be my job to stimulate interest in young people, to stimulate them to think in a multidisciplinary way, to entertain exciting careers in fourth industrial revolution and beyond. And I tell them in the classroom, every classroom I visit, don't become employees. If you do, make sure it is something you love so that it becomes a psychic source of income. You never have to work for money, because when you work for money, money becomes the master and you become the slave. However, when money works for you, now that is an idea and a half. You become the master and money becomes the slave. And money can work for you at 100%, 400%, 900%, infinite return on investment. How hard is your money working for you? If money is working hard for you, you don't have to work for money. If it is working and you know how to get it to work for you, and you've disciplined yourself to live by the rules of the game, and you're playing this game by the rules, my friends, you never have to be poor. You never have to complain that the salary is not enough. It will never be enough. One of the biggest things, let me share with you, is this. I have a problem. I don't like being valued by humans. Every time humans valued me, they undervalued me. I came out of Stellenbosch. They said I'm worth 100,000 a year. I accepted the job because I was unemployed. All right. And then as I get there, I find people who had been working for longer than me and say, so I want to get promoted. I want to get more money. What should I do? They say, well, you only have 2 honors degrees equivalent. Go and study master's degree. And I said, if I study master's degree, they would increase my salary. I would earn more money. They said, not exactly like that. It's not like you say master's degree, qualification. And then HR department comes with a letter and say, we're adding an additional 0, Matsapola. Thank you very much. You can go for PhD now. That's not how it works. Hey, I was very, very, very conflicted. And I was a nuisance to those guys, I'm sure. But Shem, they put up with me, and we are friends. We are good friends today. I learned a ton from them. You know, when people have made peace with the fact that, hey, listen, it's going to be work until retirement. And that's it. That's my life. Hey, man, for a youngster coming out of university, fiery like a Julius Malema, man, hey. I was boiling inside. I thought, I didn't leave Limpopo, come this far, 2,000 kilometers away, to come here and play, to come here and settle for being an employee and be told what to do. Huh? Be told what to do, how much to earn, and accept that. So the day I discovered that humans are programmed to devalue fellow humans, I realized that the answer is not going to come from any human being. So I will not rely on any human being. Even my mentor, I don't rely on him. I learn from him. I take what I take from him and build my own recipe, apply it, make it work for me. You see, there is what works. But then there is what works for me, for my unique set of circumstances. That, my friends, is what I have taken out of these lessons. So money is an idea. This platform is an idea. And now it's a reality. It was an idea before we got together and we shared this knowledge. So I discovered there are only 2 ways to earn money. One is the one I was programmed with from 1982 to 2000. People at work, which means people are the slaves, money is the master. They work for it, spend all of it, it runs out sometimes before month end, and they go back and keep on working to consume it, and it's gone. So employees spend all their time working diligently, inherit a partner at the pay point called SARS, who has decided by law that this is, by the way, 2021 financial year. The latest one is a bit different from this one. not fundamentally, still the same 18% progressive tax system. Spend all month going to work and give it all away. Kiyosaki says, pay yourself first. What does that mean? Give it all away, only to go back and get it. And then they give you a promotion. And of course, the standard of living catches up. And you're back to square one. And a guy who earns 600,000 a year is not fundamentally different from a guy who earns 100,000 a year. It's just that he'll buy a more expensive car, he'll live in a more expensive house, his children will probably go to a more expensive school. This is a formula for failure. Nothing ever changes if we continue with this line. The second way is my favorite, and that's what I advocate for. I'm a lover of mathematics. The only way I got to get my mathematics degree challenged was in investing. Saying, huh? Say that again. Do my own calculations there. Say, hey, what is this internal rate of return? Simple interest. What are all these methods of measuring growth? Why do we need a different one for measuring growth in these circumstances than we do in another one? Paper assets, you can use basic calculation. You come out of paper assets into things like real estate, into businesses. Now you have to work with some more complex methods of measuring return on investment. And guys like Hannes Dreyer have built systems to teach that. I was lucky to be when he first started. I see he's over 60 years old now, and he still has teachings. It's more systematic now. You don't even have to go anywhere. You click a button, you pay, and you have access. So go to him, come to me. What I'm not comfortable to teach, I'll tell you that, go to the master himself. I won't teach it. I'll give you the basics, understanding, but I will not sit with you and teach you A to Z. I do teach. I've been teaching, and my students are producing fantastic results. Fantastic results. And so I have tested my system for myself through my own doing. I know the results. I've tested it with other people. It works. I can open my own factory now. Well, I have. My house is my place of work. That's the headquarters of the Deneo Group, and I am the CEO, Group CEO. So, money at work, it's a fantastic idea. Multiple sources of income, it's a fantastic idea. One income is never enough. I think that my wife would have left me if I only had one source of income, because she would never have experienced all this fantastic. I'm romantic, by the way. So money is fantastic if you want to be romantic, because it affords you options. You know, I still have some debts to pay, take her to Mauritius and those wonderful places. But I think that I'm doing fantastic for a husband who is a return soldier from first failure, you know. So let me get back to the basics. We are created by God, ladies and gentlemen. You believe in God or not, didn't create yourself. My parents didn't create me. I came through them. So I had a mandate that is not written. SANSA is created in 2008 by the SANSA Act 36 of 2008. Okay. It was signed into law by President Kgalema Motlanthe. So the Den Act, the Den Matsapola Act of 1976, is the act of parliament, because I am here, I come from heaven. It's a kingdom, it's a government. I am here as a representative to bring kingdom principles to apply in everything I do. So what I found, I found. What I was programmed with, I was programmed with. But I am lucky because I was exposed to a religion that told me about a teacher, the greatest teacher who has ever lived. And one of the things that he said was, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. We didn't talk about any politician setting me free. No human being can set another human being free. Never. To be set free. What are we needing to be set free from? From the kingdom of darkness. Ignorance is blaze on this planet. People don't know how to earn money on this planet. People have relied on the government being the economic parent. And so don't blame politicians when they use that to their advantage and promise you jobs and promise you all of these things that they cannot deliver, that they need us to collectively deliver as an economy of government, businesses, and households. So we are here to deliver a unique life assignment. And I work with young kids in schools. Every child is a genius. I tell them, every single one, including the ones whose teachers have told them they're stupid, whose parents at home have told them they're stupid. I go and I tell them, and they are in tears most of the time, because if you've been told you are dumb all your life and somebody comes up and says, no, don't believe that, it's a lie, they tend to want to stick. But then I'm only there temporarily, and I must find a way, and I am working on that, find a way to be permanently there. Technology is fantastic today. Look at us. What are we doing today? So let us flip the script. By not teaching our children what we were taught, we are programmed to do that. When I was growing up, things were like this. Well, my children keep reminding me, Dad, this is not Limpopo. I say, I know. You can take Den out of Limpopo, but taking Limpopo out of Den requires a concerted mental effort, time and spaced repetition of ideas until they get through. So forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, if I feel like I'm repetitive in my effort, and if I'm being too emphatic. Repetition is the mother of skill. The most difficult thing to do is to repeat we brush our teeth every day. We never get bored and say, I'm not gonna brush them for 3 weeks. The results will be disastrous. I'm not gonna eat. So we must, so we've made lifetime commitment to brushing our teeth, to getting dressed and putting that roll on so that we smell good when we are in the presence of other people. Why not add the training of the mind and commit to becoming Kaizen practitioners? I'm a Kaizen practitioner. The Japanese have a word, Kaizen, that stands for constant and never-ending improvement. I am in love with what I'm doing. Most importantly, I'm in love with my life assignment now that I know what it is. I am here to solve a unique problem, and that problem is removal of darkness. That's why of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, my favorite by far is SDG number 4, quality education. Beyond academic training, practicing what we teach, what we preach, lest we become fake teachers that would teach only because they get paid. A higher paying job in teaching shows up, they resign and go and take it up. Do you understand what you are teaching? Do you apply what you are teaching? Do the results in your life reflect that you understand? Or are you just teaching because it pays? This is a challenge to me, from me to those who are teachers. So I'm a wealth creator. We create, we preserve, we grow, and we enjoy wealth. What is wealth? Wealth is life in abundance. Abundance in every area of my life. I'm primarily a spiritual being, created in the image of the Almighty God, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. So omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence are built into me. In September, when we celebrate Heritage Day, I celebrate inheriting these qualities from the Creator. If you remove omni from omniscience, what's left is my favorite subject. It's science. The origins of science are built into all humans. So science is not something we go to study at school. We were programmed that that is what science is. Science is inherently built into humans. Gifted with a marvelous mind, the most powerful tool we have to create our own economy is the mind. We've never seen it, and we've never seen ourselves if we are created in the image of God, because we've never seen God. The only part of ourselves we see is the body. The only part of ourselves that can be in one place at a time. I was born into a family with a mother and a father, teacher and a nurse, and that existed in a societal setting, a community, society. So I'm a social being. I connect with a fellow human being. That is a blessing in disguise, because I didn't have to create all 9 billion people on earth, yet I am created to deliver unique services to them. Oh, wonderful. My life costs money. Money is a big problem. There are only 3 big problems in the world today: money, relationships, and weight. Body mass. People cannot control it. Ladies go to great lengths to keep it in shape, to look good, to look attractive. So money is one of the big problems. We need to solve money and remove humans from the other end of the equation where we are slaves, and to get us to be the masters that we were created by God to be. Our vocation is our platform for serving our gift of value that we were born with to the world, not to the earth, to the world. So, for God so loved the world that he gave the world, you and me, that we can be blessings and become conduits for delivering value to his children through us. The mind is the greatest power in all creation. So one of my businesses is in the training of the mind to think. So I'm in the education space. Robert Kiyosaki challenged me. He said there is a financial statement of the poor, the rich, the middle class in the middle, the rich on the extreme right. I've already talked to you about many of these elements, so I'm going to skip through them because the context of them has been shared. There's something called the income tax threshold. The amount of money below which no taxes are payable, above which tax is paid at a progressive tax system. So an individual in South Africa is allowed to earn up to it has gone up. This is 2020, 2021 financial year. We are currently about to wrap up 2021, 2022 financial year. And the income tax threshold has gone up to 87,300 Rand. It's gone up by 5%. That was Ntate Mboweni's last gift before he retired. So we'll wait to hear what Ntate Godongwana has to say in February about how things will look. And these are incentives. Government wants us to give this to our children. We need to learn how. And I'm one of very few people who know how to do this and are prepared to share. So come and pay me, I'll teach you. Interest income. So government wants you to start African household banks. How do I know this? Well, government speaks through the law. Read it, it's written in the Income Tax Act of 1962. Read it. It's not just for lawyers, it's for all of us. Start a bank. For this one, start businesses, including real estate investments. Start business in an area that you got training and lessons in, and you are competent and you've developed skill sets. So I have multiple businesses. So there is 111 Rand. This is minimum wage in South Africa. I have a dream that every little child in South Africa will receive this as a standard operating procedure in my lifetime. So this is why I am here. This is why I do what I do on Facebook and every other platform. So help me spread the word, because my challenge for converting 0 Rand into over 10 million Rand comes to an end on the 28th of February, and I've won it already. But I will not stop until the 28th of February to just continue to give and to give, because the greatest teacher who has ever lived said it is in giving that we shall receive. So if you want anything and you have a problem with what you are getting, have a look at what you are giving. The problem lies there. You want a lot of money? Give a lot of service, because money is reward received for services rendered. So minimum wage defined, end of poverty is thinking. Let us think and grow rich and deliver a globally competitive economy. I am not just a consumer of jobs, I am a creator of jobs, and I'm encouraging you to do so. Government wants us to create jobs. That's why they've put those tax incentives in place, including hiring our own children and paying them up to 87,300 Rand for working in our businesses, doing those basic menial tasks, keeping logbooks, keeping records, because when we file tax returns, those records come in very handy. And we can hire people outside and give that money away, or we can hire our own children and complement their education in school so that they learn practically from mom and dad how to create their own economy. Money is reward received for services rendered. I will be doing injustice if I don't tell you my favorite law, and then I close with that. I told you the earning of money is an exact science governed by laws. I'm going to tell you about the law of compensation. I learned this law and my life changed completely. I knew that I'm a billionaire that day. The amount of money you earn is in direct ratio to 1, the need for what you do. Is there a need for what you do? 2, your ability to do it. How good are you at doing what you are doing, delivering what you are delivering? Will they postpone the conference because you are unavailable? When you are that good, you know that your stock goes up. They say, we don't want anybody else to deliver this, but we want you, Matsapola, to deliver it, because nobody delivers it the way that you do. So we will postpone the event until you are available. When is your availability? Oh my goodness, what a wonderful feeling. What a wonderful feeling. 3, the difficulty there will be in replacing you. How difficult is it to replace you? If you resign today, I know they will advertise. HR has a duty to make sure that the workforce is kept abreast. So they will advertise. But how easy will it be to find your replacement? How easy is it to replace you with your personal relationships? How easy is it? So if you want to earn a lot of money, obey the law of compensation. Focus specifically on number 2. The amount of money you earn is in direct ratio to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there will be in replacing you. Number 2, your ability to do it. Every day, wake up and get better and better and better at delivering value. Get excited about what you do. Be the change that you want to see in your world. So the purpose of money is really to just give us comfort and to extend the good that we do beyond our own physical presence. We can deliver services globally today thanks to technology. And I mean, I'll just reflect on Jeff Bezos, one of my favorite entrepreneurs. He employs over 1.3 million people. Yet the average person can't even fathom the idea of employing 13. Albert Einstein said, everything is energy and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. If you want to get 7 distinctions out of 7 subjects, I tell the learners in school, simply match the frequency of that 7 out of 7 distinctions, reality. And you cannot help but get that reality. And a couple of my mentees have listened to me and they have done exactly that. So I help young people in schools to actually perform at their peak. Because They already have teachers, they already have curriculum, they already have the textbooks and the school and the entire governing system. Everything is in place. What's missing is they are sitting with something called the mind, and nobody has taught them how to use it, just like nobody taught me how to use it when I was in school. Memory, we memorized. Think, we actually cram. We study, remember, repeat, forget. Study, cram, remember it for the exam, and then we repeat it in the exam so we get the marks, forget it. And then they give us the certificate, we think we understand. There's no learning. That's just being parrots. And so if you are good at memorizing, you can get a PhD. That simple. So memory as a faculty is more responsible. It's responsible for more distinctions than any other faculties in school. There are 6 faculties, and I teach my students how to use them to create their own economy. All right. Be the light of the world is an instruction. This is how I've interpreted it. I have 8 satellites orbiting around the African household. These are all my businesses, and they all generate income for me. My goal is to get paid every single day. Getting paid once a month is a bad idea. It's an idea that will keep the economy of Limpopo producing less than 10% contribution to the GDP of South Africa. It's an idea that will keep the South African economy not growing at double digits, not producing enough jobs for the young people that are coming out of our institutions. Soon we will get to a point where young people say, what's the point of getting educated if we become unemployed graduates? It's very disheartening, it's very discouraging. We have a duty to put all hands on deck and take responsibility, starting with our own African household economy and making sure that we build those assets and let those assets put money in our pocket, whether we work or not, so that we experience wealth, abundance in every area of our lives. We have options. All results are created the same way. Follow the creative process and create extraordinary results. This is the creative process. I teach it. We were all programmed. It starts with our programming. Change our programming. I think it was Apostle Paul who said, transform your life by the total renewal of your mind. The greatest teacher who has ever lived said, repent, which means change your mind, change your way of thinking, for the kingdom of heaven has arrived. It's here. Let us use its principles to change this economy, for nothing else can do it. So we need intervention from above. And above has delivered through the Daniel Matsapola Act of 1976. And whatever act that defines you, in whatever year you were born, I challenge you, let us be the change that we want to see in our world. And let us be the advocates. Let us be the light of the world and the salt of the world, whose purpose is to preserve. So let's shine the light on darkness. Once we continuously do that, we will have a good thing going. Now, when we have a good thing going, let us preserve it with the salt. And that is how we must interpret the good scripture that we were given. Understand our programming first, reprogram the subconscious mind, replace those outdated industrial age ideas like go to school, get a good job with benefits, like invest in the stock market where you have no control whatsoever as to what happens. Exercise control over what you invest in. Have control over it happening. I will never invest in anything I don't understand. I will never invest in anything I cannot control. I will never. That's why I invest in real estate. But most importantly, that is why I invest in myself, because self-control is one of the biggest weapons that I have. And I've been taught how to take control of my mind, what goes into it. That's why I don't watch TV, I don't listen to radio, I don't read newspapers. I vowed that I will not watch TV until I appear in it. I have appeared multiple times in TV. I still won't watch it unless they tell me, watch this thing so that it's towards that purpose. This thing of just watching mindless television by the middle class of South Africa, it's one of the biggest obstacles we are facing. We will never grow this economy if we keep on watching other people earning money, sports personalities, and God knows why. What is next? Setting goals for 2022. If you want to learn how to take control of your financial life, I am your man. I am your man. Come to me. I will teach you. Yes, last year I did it, the whole 53 Fridays of 2021. My students are producing extraordinary results. Their attitude towards life has changed completely. Those who were working and only focusing on employment and getting frustrated when those bonuses are not paid, getting frustrated when, things are not happening as they wish. They are not in control. I teach them, take control of your finances and never again bow to circumstance called poverty. Never again. Circumstance does not make man. Man makes circumstance. And I'm happy to see some of my students are on the platform. It is fantastic. The youngest student on my platform is 25 years old. They are right at the point when I started working at OTB in April 2001. It's the year I turned 25, knowing nothing. When they start that early, they will get further. But I say 25 is too late. So I'm going into the education system, not to attack it, not to condemn it, but to work with it and complement it and sell this idea that every one of those children in the classroom can produce excellent results, can produce 7 out of 7 distinctions, if only they can be taught how to use what they don't have to go and buy first. God gave it to them. We need to use what God has given us. If you want to start a bank, I teach 3 strategies. Come to me and I will take you places. Places I have been, places where I live permanently. I have permanent residence. So these are some of the strategies I teach. My goodness, you start using these strategies, 7 years is a long time. You will experience control over your life. You will enjoy abundance in every area of your life. You will feel like you are here for a purpose, and that purpose is not to shrink into a grain of sand, as Ogmandino says, but to become a mountain. Henceforth, I shall strain my potential until it cries for mercy and become the highest mountain of them all, the greatest salesman in the world. This is the financial statement that I'll drive you towards, where assets put money in your pocket, whether you work or not. And I'm an innovator. The average real estate investor gets rental income from property. I have found a way to get 5 income streams from 1 property investment. And this is one of my great secrets. And you want to learn that secret? Come and I'll teach you. I charge 300 Rand a month to mentor you. And in exchange, you gave me that 3,600 Rand. That's peanuts, by the way. But I do it so that I keep the open door so that as many Africans as possible can come through and enjoy what I enjoy. 1st of March 2022, it goes up to 500 Rand. It's still peanuts. I should be charging 1,000 Rand minimum per month. And so the reason I'm doing this is I'm killing all of the excuses people have. Oh, I don't have the money. I don't have that. 300 Rand a month. That's less than what you spend on beer and pizza and all these things that are just getting you problems that you're going to give your money to doctors in future. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm talking to professionals and colleagues and, forgive me if I sound like I'm in the classroom. I spend my time mostly there. Forgive me. But I don't mean any disrespect in any way. Please take to heart what I am saying as something that is from the depth of my heart, not meant to offend in any way, but to share the knowledge that I've gained over the last 17 years after I left ISA and realized that a job is not an asset and that the house I live in is not an asset, but a liability. But I have found a way to convert liabilities into assets. And this is my concluding slide. Abundance is our birthright as the leading species on earth. We were born to create. So create your own economy. Money affects every area of our lives. Create money abundance so that you don't have it in short supply. Don't work for money. Work for satisfaction, doing what you love. Love is the most powerful strategy in life. Love what you do. There are only two ways to earn money. I've talked about them. People at work, used by over 96% of the world's population. Money at work. And when you can learn to use 0 rand, 0 cents, it is a powerful amount of money to create and convert energy, which is an idea. It's a business idea, it's energy in one form, to a business that generates passive income streams. Then you've converted it into another form and you are obeying the law of conservation of energy. Now you are applying physics right there. You never change things by fighting existing reality. Don't curse the education system. Don't curse the country that we belong in and the corrupt politicians. Don't curse that. We need politicians in government to have stability in our country so that entrepreneurs and investors like myself can create our own economy. To change things, we must build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. I am Group CEO of the Deneo Group. I don't need to work. I choose to work. I love what I do at work. The most important study of them all is the study of self. Know thyself. Study yourself. Look in the mirror and realize that what you see is not you, but a reflection of your physical body. You are spiritual, invisible. You have a marvelous mind, invisible. 2 parts of you out of 3 are invisible. If all 3 parts are equal, it means 66.666% of me is invisible. And yet we live in the universe where less than 5% is actually matter that we can see, smell, hear, taste, and touch. The rest is invisible as well. Coincidence? I don't think it's a coincidence. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson got it right when he said, we are as complex as the universe because there is an entire universe lying dormant within us. And I added, waiting for us to discover it, explore it with the telescope that we have, the 6 mental telescopes, and exploit it to whatever ends we desire. Master the creative process to produce extraordinary results, not just at work, not just in business, in your health, in your relationships. Impact every area of your life with the creative process, because all results are created the same way, including metric results. So I want to help as many circuit managers and district directors, teachers of science subject to produce extraordinary results. So hook me up with the ones that you know are willing to work with me, and I will help them. Live the way you want to live. Be the star of your own life movie. Don't be an added extra, the guy who doesn't even feature at the end of the movie. Habitually invest in yourself as the African wealth creator. Let us get into the habit of investing in ourselves. People form habits, habits form futures, as Nightingale said. So live like the ambassador, live like the king or queen that you were created by God to be. Serve your gift of value to the world, not just to your employer in your lifetime. And the world will never forget you. The world never forgets its heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, I will leave it there. This was my last slide. I think we took the whole 2 hours. Never give Dan Matsapola the platform to talk for 30 minutes because that is injustice. If there are questions, I will take the questions. I haven't been checking the chat box. I see one of the fruits of spirit is self-control. My goodness, Lerato Duve. If you are not okay, Jimisani Sondlo also posted, please use this link. Okay, keep repeating, wealth creator. Thank you. And thanks for the idea. I now sell light to remove darkness of ignorance, the kingdom of darkness. Let us smash it and restore the sons of God that we all are, with infinite potential and options. Okay, if there are questions, I will take them. But if you are tired, I understand. I do this, I can go on and on and on. As long as I have a glass of water, I am sorted. Any questions? I will stop sharing my screen so that I can see who's who. I hope I didn't bore you to death. I see some familiar names from my class. Leon Nkosi has a question. Please come through, sir.
Okay. Yes, I'm Leonard Nkosi. I just want to ask something. How do we join your class? Because to be mentored by you, how do we join the class?
So I'm currently running, thank you for that question, Leon. That's a fantastic question. I'm currently running the DEN-M Abundance Mentorship Program over a 12-month period. So my 2022 students have started with lesson 1. And by Saturday, the 31st, they will be at lesson 53 if they don't break in between. So you send me an email at the email address that I've shared in the chat box. The email I actually opened while I was at ESA in 2000. It's still active. t_matsapola@hotmail.com. Send me an email, I'll give you the details. And then you can decide when to join. I'll give you all the details you need to decide when to join and whether to pay once off for the year or to pay monthly installments. Either way, I am available. The lessons are there. They've proven themselves to work. So can't wait to welcome you as your abundance tour guide.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions, colleagues?
Maybe just to come in then, it's a bit Nico, yeah? How do we then get the list of books that we need to actually read? Is there, how will you share that with us?
I wrote a book, Abednego, my namesake. Oh my goodness. We've seen each other a long time ago. I wrote a book. The Facebook edition of my book is available. I don't sell it, I give it away. In that book, I tell you which books have impacted my life and what they have allowed me to do. So send me an email, interested in the book, read my book. You know, sometimes it's to limit your risk. Check out the guy who's offering any services. Convince yourself that this is the right decision that you are making. Don't rush into any decision. Read, check me out on Facebook. I'm very active and I'm constantly writing. I never write nonsense. I'm always conscious of what I'm putting out there. Read my book. You will see what books I have read that have impacted my life. Today, I've shared with you 3. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Kiyosaki, Cash Flow Quadrant by Kiyosaki, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I recommend these 3 for a start. There's a book I will always recommend called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It has changed my life since 2016. It is a fantastic book. And there are many authors. The key is to read the book and not just say, I have finished it and close it. The key is to actually take what the book teaches you, implement it, and become the authority on the use of that knowledge. Remember, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. The true power of knowledge lies in its application to unlock value, to solve problems. So drop me an email. I'll share with you some of the books that have impacted my life.
No, thanks, Dan. I'll do that. Last question. How do you speak
Yes.
for 2 hours non-stop? Where do you get that from?
You know, they say we are human beings, but the truth is we are spiritual beings. When you are excited about what you are talking about, remember, energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed, but can be converted from one form to another. I can go on for 3 hours non-stop. I've gone on for longer. So it's inside us. We need to tune into that frequency where this reality of infinite energy comes to the surface and it becomes natural. We have the power to do that.
Well, wow. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Very few people have the name Abednego. And I'm not Democratic Alliance. I'm Daniel Abednego Matsapola. Any other questions?
Yeah, I just unmuted myself.
Leadership.
No, thank you for the mind-challenging presentation. There's a lot of takeaways that one has noted for himself. I just want to ask, there's a part where you're talking about your 8 satellites and so forth. I saw some business ventures there. I understand this training program is one of the 8, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's a process that you have been explaining to the few questions that were raised in how to be part of that. I'm looking in terms of, in line with what we're discussing a few days ago, to say, here we are, we want to establish some kind of a charity organization, NPO, as a ISA alumni. I'll say NPO with an investment wing or with an enterprise to participate in the economy. What will be your the proposal to say, if we were to go about getting into that space to create this, what will be your suggestion for us? I understand not all of us would want to go through a training program for a certain period of time, but others would want to, but others want to jump straight into creating those satellites for themselves and so forth. What would be the proposal, or what is your advice around that?
Thanks. It's not a simple question to answer this one. It's actually a very convoluted question, but my philosophy is we can only give what we have. So I am giving here because I have, and I have in abundance. It starts with giving to ourselves. And the most important thing is to identify a need. If you noticed in the presentation, there is one diagnostic that I've done, problem statement. I have diagnosed what the problem is. I have diagnosed what the problem is, and I am confident when I put myself out there in the marketplace that I am not faffing around. I'm not testing the market. I know exactly what the market needs because it has responded to me and it is continuously responding. And in this vacuum, because nature abhors a vacuum, whenever there is a vacuum, nature finds a way to fill it. So let us be gap fillers. Let us not duplicate what's been done by anybody else. Especially, let us not compete with anybody. I beg you guys, become wealth creator entrepreneurs, which means we don't compete. Amateur entrepreneurs compete. And in the process, there's a lot of harm that is caused. You can never compete with Dan at being Dan. So let us each find a unique voice and serve that to the world. There is no one who's here. I'm not here to deliver Lerato Duve's life assignment or Kumbula Masinge's life assignment. Kumbula is here to do that. Lerato is here to do that. So deliver your thing. Even though you may find you are in the same industry as me, there is no way we will compete. The market is too big. And remember, the market is not South African market. For South Africa's economy to grow, South Africa has to deliver services and products to the rest of the world. The world needs to know what to come to South Africa for. Let me be more specific. The world needs to know what to come to whatever venture we set up for. We must be unique. We must not be a duplicate of what's already out there. That is why, if you want what I do, you may find intersecting circles with my mentor, Dr. Hannes. But mine is unique. Where I am, he will never be. The networks I am in, he will never access. So I am sitting on gold, and all that I have to do is mine. And that is my advice. This is why I kept saying, as beneficiaries of ISA, we got what ISA offered. And we are eternally grateful for that. As benefactors, let us decide what we are putting on offer. And I have clearly come out guns blazing to say, if we give them what ISA gave us, we've wasted 20 years of our lives. Because it means we haven't learned anything in that 20 years. A man who sees life the same way at 60 as he did at 40 has wasted 20 years of his life. These are insights based on my personal journey. I imagine, Snganga, you have experienced some things that have informed the way you look at life and that have informed your philosophy. I'm sure you've dropped some long-standing beliefs along the way and picked up others in their place. Let us bring all of that up and say, go to school, get good grades, graduate, and then what do we say after that? Based on what we have seen. If we just do that which was told to us, and we know that many of us had, I don't want to say many, some of us have not had the opportunities to actually put to practice in a conducive environment the lessons and the skills they've acquired at ISA. So we need to change the world, to turn it upside down, to be the voice of reason, to be the go-to guys that the world knows. When we are with those guys, we will win. I believe that I am that guy. So that is why I am coming out to share with you guys what I have learned and what I have gathered over the years. It's my personal experience. I imagine everybody of us has had theirs. So I can't wait to hear. It was very sad for me to hear about some things at the funeral of Siyabonga. I wish I knew some things earlier. It would have helped me understand him better. And I welcome this opportunity to share, to put ourselves out there and to say, look, what you see is what you get. I have no secrets. I have nothing to hide. Everything I'm telling you is me. Those who are in the same class as me will tell you this is Tsapman. No changes there. But perhaps a few philosophical changes have taken place through my journey, the influence of my journey. So let us give something unique. And I'm prepared to contribute to the development of that unique thing. I've said to Dumisani several times, if we want to recreate ISA exactly as it was, it means that we don't know what we are doing. Not after 20 years since we left. Well, depending on when you were there. Not after this long period and having experienced what works, what doesn't, what our country is facing today. People don't know how to create an economy. And they rely on the government as an economic parent, and they are perpetual dependents. That is why it becomes critical what government is doing. Government has done a lot. Citizens need to know how to take up opportunities government makes available. And that requires a skilling of sorts, but that also requires a shift in mindset. Shift in mindset. I know we wanted jobs when we left ISA, but I don't want a job anymore. I'm happy with the one I have. But I want to contribute. I want to give back. And the young people in my community in rural Capricorn District, Limpopo, are looking to me as a role model that is shining the light on what the challenge of their generation is. The 1976 era had theirs, we had ours, and what have we synthesized out of our experience that leads us to formulating the solutions that we are going to offer through this platform you are asking specifically about, and every other platform that we are in charge of. I'm the CEO of the Deneo Group. I'm the Science Engagement Manager at SANZA. So these are platforms. I use all of them. I will use every platform that I can get so that I can get my message out there. As many young people, I said I have a target to train over 1 million Africans to become millionaires. So I hope I'm clear enough, Snganga, in articulating what my thinking is there. And you may have follow-up questions. It's not a simple question that you've asked. It's a very difficult question, but yeah, everything I said in this presentation, I stand for it. I don't compromise on any of it. It's my word. It's what I stand by, I live by. So I cannot expect anybody else to live by, I cannot preach one thing and do another. So I will be true to myself. And so, yeah, I look forward to the day when we believe that we don't need money to create businesses and investment portfolios. But it's not just a question of hope. There are skill sets that are associated with that help us to see this possibility that ordinarily to the average person, it sounds like a pipe dream. Sounds like something nice to say. I personally have experienced it. I'm teaching my students how to do it. Are you answered, my brother?
Yes, I am answered. Anyway, we have an outstanding bonding session that.
No, we do. We do.
Yeah, I'm satisfied for today. Thanks.
Thank you, leadership. Okay. All right. Me, I am sorted. Like I said, I can go on and on and on. I leave it to you guys to decide how far to take this. I'm here. My energy is still at 100%. Hey, my man. I hope it's my classmate.
Can you hear me, guys?
I can hear you, leadership.
That's fine. Okay, then. You know what? Every time I see your name or I remember you, I remember that day when we were coming from Gauteng and you looked through the window and you saw the tires and the smoke and you shouted at the bus, and we were all scared. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it was just, I think they changed the pads of the wheels, something like that. But what I can say then, most of the things you said are true. And one thing I took out of your statements is that commitment is the key. Whatever you do, you need commitment. I think that commitment you mentioned is the same one you mentioned it to when you answer Mr. Kombola. Because if, for example, we do something for young kids or whoever, if we use the same strategy that was used 20 years ago, it might not work well. And if you look back to, it depends on the individual commitment to succeed. The unfortunate part of it is that you learn it after investing so much time in working for salary. So I just want to thank you for the speech. It's eye-opening. Some of the things we know we don't take care of them. Like, for example, you mentioned employ your family. I've heard about that, but something I'm taking it slow, or you sometimes even forget about it. Most people get wealth by understanding the law. For example, we have tax practitioner who will cut taxes for us if we work outside the countries. So if you don't know all those things, you don't get that benefit. I think where you were with the guy you mentioned, Anestraya, I think he's a great guy. You had the opportunity of exploring all these avenues, or not exploring, having to know that there is this. So I would think personally that sometimes you just need to not look at the money like your courses. I think I might be the one of the people who takes it, because knowledge is a power. You might get something out of it, you might not get something out of it, but knowledge is the power. The fact that you know about it, that's the best thing. So in all, thanks, Dan. Sure.
Thank you, Tri. Hey, it's nice to hear your voice, man. I don't know when last we saw each other. It probably is during those early 2000s, and that's it. So it's nice to hear your voice and to know you're still well and safe. Thank you for that input. It's fantastic. I welcome the feedback. I see the New Zealander's hand is up. My home girl.
I told you I'm not all those titles. All right. Hi, Denden.
Hello, Tsepi.
Just a quick question. I wanted to check with you the model that you are following, because I'm assuming that it's based on initially the harness dryer and whatever else that you've managed to learn later. Is it a portable model? Is it only for South Africa, or can you use it anywhere in the world?
Oh, it's universally applicable. It's universally applicable. There is one thing I didn't specifically come out and say. Maybe I said it in between, if you read between the lines, but let me be very specific. You see, whatever it is that is needed in a country, it's captured in the strategic documents of that country. National Development Plan, for example, of South Africa, would seek to achieve an aspiration for the country. And it would identify those areas of strategic importance for investing. If we don't align ourselves with this, developing the skill sets to meaningfully contribute there, specifically to take up the incentives that governments all over the world give as incentives to investors and entrepreneurs. And we pursue this old school idea of go to school, get good grades so you can get a good job with benefits and be loyal until your retirement, seeking tenure in employment. You will see that circumstance becomes the master and we bow to circumstance. If poverty was there before we started that move, poverty will be there at the end of it. It will never change. So governments all throughout the world, that's why what government doesn't want Bezos to establish Amazon research factory in their country? What government doesn't want? Why doesn't Ramaphosa go to West Africa to Davos, to attract investors to South Africa and offer them incentives? The loan means are in Marikana here. They come from London, they came here to invest. And the promise to the president and the politicians is that they will create jobs for the South Africans. And that is an attraction. So the government becomes the enabler. We are here as citizens. We should be the ones that respond to that call to build this economy, more so because we live here. Those guys will find ways to siphon some of the funds out of South Africa and not find effective ways of not paying taxes by, for example, setting up, headquarters in these tax havens. So this is universally applicable. This is universally as applicable in Africa as it is in Europe, as it is in America, Australia, New Zealand, everywhere. There's a part of partnering with the government that I have spoken about, but I've limited it to the things that are applicable to everybody who's here. Governments want things done. They put incentives there. They say, go and establish a business at that special economic zone, and we give you this incentive as a concession to help you establish. We know that these are not easy investments to make and the risk of failure is high. So we are coming with you as a partner. Through this incentive, we are making it palatable for you and your shareholders to know that by doing so, we've helped reduce the risk of you failing. Governments serve that purpose. And as far as I'm concerned, the government of South Africa has many of those incentives. What remains is that many Africans don't know about these things. Those who know sometimes don't have the courage to pursue them because, you read in the media how corrupt politicians are, how corrupt this and that is, and how you need to be well connected to take advantage of that. And then it just mentally defeats you. You don't even start. And there are many entrepreneurs who are actually working far away from the government incentives, except the ones that are unavoidable. I mean, when you create jobs, you are helping the government meet its broad socioeconomic mandate. When you build infrastructure, you're helping the government. When Ford builds a road in Pretoria called Simon for Moorten, because they need it for transporting those Ford vehicles that they've built to their markets. But in the process, they also help the Mamelodi traffic flow better. That's a tax incentive that the city of Tshwane gives to entrepreneurs in their operating environment. And these entrepreneurs don't have to pay heavy taxes that they would have been liable for paying because they are helping with public good. Ndate Motsepe bill helps Mamelodi Sundowns. He takes profits from ARM, puts them into good public good services. Soccer has the capacity to connect people. So you put your money there and you get incentives, tax write-offs and concessions. These concessions are there for entrepreneurs. That is why I feel that everybody on this group should become an entrepreneur. It starts as easily as starting from home. Remember, we are all African household executives as parents, responsible for growing the economy of the African household. All right, so that our children, we will die one day. We want to leave a legacy that is intergenerational, not just for our children. We may have the privilege of raising our children, but we may not have the privilege of raising our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. But when we have systems that are set up through trusts that will live beyond our lives on earth, then we are able to transfer this wealth intergenerationally, and we become Ruperts and the Oppenheimers of this world. This is how they started. They didn't get the magic bullets, or I know we may believe that they were privileged because the governments of the day favored their race. That be that as it may, the governments of the day favor ours today. Let us use this opportunity to, man, I hate to answer the question from my grandchildren. Grandpa, you were there. Post-1994, you probably lived through Nelson Mandela's government era. What did you do, Grandpa? And I say, no, I had a job at the space agency. And I retired at 65 with a pension. I don't think that that's going to, I don't think that that is going to matter much. I think they will look at my life as a wasted opportunity, not as the enabling grandpa that gives us unconscious permission to dream. On every family tree, there is the pioneer. There is the one who starts a path that was never followed by anybody before them. Trailblazers. Such is the caliber of the ISA beneficiary that we are. So wherever we are in the world, we can be the change that we want to see. These principles are universal. In fact, I have searched since 2004, I've searched the law. There is no tax incentive for becoming an employee. I've searched. I've never found it. I don't think I will ever find it. Being an employee means you are a bad partner to the government. That is why the government punishes you with taxes. That is why the government disallows you from deducting certain expenses, the same expenses that they allow entrepreneurs and investors to deduct, pre-tax. So it's written, it's there in black and white. There is no incentive. The only reason we became employees is because we were programmed to go to school, get good grades, graduate, and get a good job with benefits. Probably because our parents did that. I'm a son of a teacher and a nurse. Okay? So you grow up surrounded by people earning money the way that they are earning it. You have no reason to believe that there is a twisted system that is at play here. Until you grow up and you must make your own independent analysis and look at what is offered and use your own independent mechanisms to use your mind to discern all the patterns and say, no, something is wrong here. We've been fed a lie here. If I knew what I know today, I would not have done some of the things that I have done. And that is the wonderful power of hindsight. But I have an opportunity to change it with my children. That is why I implore all of us here to say, if we just continue the status quo and just happily pay with after-tax money for their school fees and send them to those schools because we can afford it, and that's it, and we're hoping when they graduate, they will see. I think that we are a messed up generation. I think that we owe them to pass this world better than we found it. I think that that is a duty we have to the next generation and the next and the next. let them quote us as the trailblazers, not for our glory, because the glory always goes to the Creator, but as vessels that allowed themselves to be used to chart a new path wherever we are in the world. It doesn't matter. So this thing doesn't matter which country you are in. Entrepreneurs are in great demand everywhere in the world. That is why they are so liquid. They can have houses in multiple countries. They can have citizenship in multiple countries. They can get injected with COVID-20 in a foreign country because they have houses there, they have influence there, they own companies there, they influence the political system of that country. Ultimately, my friends, business people drive the economy of the world. Business people drive the economy of the world, even though politicians look like they are in charge. They are in charge at the pleasure of business people. The minute you start losing money, you will see politicians being reined in to come and answer questions. Because when we lose money, remember, politicians go and attract investors here on the promise that they will protect their investments with laws that ensure certainty. If you renege on that, they will take their investment elsewhere. They are not bound. They don't have taproots. They probably have investments in multiple parts of the world. So I say we live here. Let us brighten the corner where we are. I live here. I don't plan to go anywhere else. I may go buy other houses in other parts of the world, but Africa is in my blood. I'm an African. Even there, I will be referred to as an African. What kind of African? The begging one? I don't beg. I demand what's rightfully mine, and I know what's rightfully mine. It's provided for. So yeah, it's universal. It's not South African. It's not Botswana. Once you understand the tax law of the country, you will see they favor entrepreneurs and investors. Those are the producers. They punish the consumers with taxes and disallowed deductions. Employees pay 5 times before they earn their salary. Entrepreneurs are allowed to deduct even the food that they eat in their homes if they run their businesses from home. These are concessions in the Income Tax Act. But you must understand the rules of the game and apply that within the context within which they are applied and they are legalized. It's fantastic. It's so liberating.
Thanks. I think I'm answered.
Thank you. Thank you. Usabulla Spedi ko New Zealand.
Get last slow like
It's been a long time, and the children.
All right.
All right. Okay, colleagues, are we still intact? Thank you, Malepo. Thank you, Luki. Northern Cape. I'm gonna just say hello. I haven't seen you in a long time. Mwana.
Hey, shut up, man.
How's it, Brawagit?
All right, man. Then what do you say to somebody who has tried it all, man? Because I think I'm beyond being motivated.
Try many things.
I've tried, man, and nothing works. I think the interview issues come and passed, ne? I
Yeah.
couldn't get a secure job, ne? And then I started trying for myself. I'm still trying, but things are not working out. Yeah, well, so I think I'm beyond even I'm beyond one of your best motivation that you can get on the land. Well,
Have you given up?
I'm trying not to marry. Circumstances, they directing me towards that. Well, oh, Baba used to say, player to watch this season, like I'm dead and nothing is really coming up. I'm not sure what else to do. I think I will go into, just keep it to 300, man. Don't make it 500. I think I will attend the course, ne? As my last best shot, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. You know, talk to me one-on-one. Let us talk. Let's have an open communication. One of the things that have pained me at Siabonga's memorial, like I said, is that we never had the chance to really openly talk about what we are working on, what we are trying, what is working, what is not working. So let's talk. Let's open the communication lines. And then, yeah, sometimes it just takes a different perspective to look at exactly the same picture and see things that are there that maybe you may not have seen before. Let's talk as brothers and just people. I'll tell Kaiser we must meet. He's been briefing me. How can I remember? I forget. Like Collins boy. So let's do a Kumbula already. Yeah, we know we have an outstanding one. I think as a very departure point, this open communication, colleagues, is going to be the breakthrough that we need, because we are sitting with gold right here. You may have struggled with something for many times, and I'm sitting with the solution, and I've helped many people, and I didn't know that you needed it. So let's start talking and ventilating these issues and see what we can do.
Sure, Captain. Thanks, man. I will do.
Good to hear your voice, man. It's so good to hear your voice. It's been a long time. I've seen you on Facebook, and yeah, it's good to talk to you.
Mariluki is my wife, ne?
No. When I know you are Collins boy, but then you are not Collins boy anymore, you know. Little nuggets up, man, but that will never change, you know. So, yeah, no. I understand. Mr. T. I see Kathleen was on as well, Jar lady. Does Mr. T go first or ladies first?
Oh, okay. Let me go first. Mine is quick. How's it, Matsapola?
All right, and you say?
Sure. If you know Jijo, you know me.
If I know Jijo, I know you, Mr. T.
Yeah.
That is all I want to know.
Hey, you are hiding from me.
No, it's Walter. Walter.
Matomani. Hey, my daughter.
Sure.
Wow. Good to hear from you, leadership.
No, thanks, man. Nice presentation. Due to some connection technology failure, I didn't get your answer on how to get to your course. I was cut off. I think it was the first question: how do we enroll on your? I'm not on Facebook. I hear you talking about Facebook. So I'm not on Facebook.
Well, you are an insider, so you have two options. You can drop me an email at the email address that I've put in the chat box, or you can WhatsApp me, because I imagine that my number is on the WhatsApp group, and you can
Trying to do
simply.
this one.
No,
Am I?
that's
Yeah,
sufficient. Thanks.
either the email or WhatsApp me, and let's catch up as well.
Sure.
Sharp leadership, my fellow Limpopian. When did you go to ISA? 98, 99, ne?
Yes, 99.
Yeah, you guys are the pioneers. Hey, when we were doing honors, man, we kept hearing good stories about you guys. Mishak Makafu, Lauti. Hey, these guys are doing well. We had no option but to apply. We had to apply. And thank you for that example, because look at us today. You know, we got a break and we used it. Okay, my internet is unstable. Okay, can you guys still hear me? I thought Ja Lady wanted
Yeah,
to
we
come.
can.
All right, great stuff. Okay. Ja Lady, are you coming in, or were you just thrown into the fold by circumstance?
No, I was just trying to clap. I'm just saying, I'm grateful for this talk. But this Zoom plays tricks on me. I'm not used to it. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. No, we will have our session in Toyandu. I imagine that we will go to Koroni there and have a few.
No, thanks a lot. Thanks very much for this.
You're welcome, leadership.
All right, seeing that I think you've exhausted what you needed to share with us, I think I'm going to drop off now. Thank you very much. You've inspired me. I know you tried many, many months ago. I didn't know that I didn't know what I didn't know.
Ooh.
So I think now I've come to a realization of what I need to know in order to get started. And thank you very much. I'll get in touch.
Thank you. Thank you very much. When you are this side, please, let's get in touch. When you are in Zanzi.
Will do.
Yes, definitely. And when we organize a trip there, I will give you a shout.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Stuff.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Colleagues, I'm at your service, so feel free to touch base. Maybe let's, because this is recorded, I'm sure you're gonna want to look at it again and pick up. Some things don't necessarily come immediately after the presentation. Generally after the presentation, we get excited about new things we've heard and learned, but when you sit down over time and you reflect, maybe some things will just pop that won't necessarily make sense then, and you know where to get memos. I'm constantly in giving mode, because Jesus told me that it is in giving that we receive. We cannot supervise the source of life. You give here, but there's no guarantee that you will get back from where you gave. It reverberates into the ecosystems, and one day you will be at that corner store selling something, and somebody just comes and say, I'll take all of them. And you won't even make the connection where and how or whatever. Or your child would be somewhere needing help and gets helped by a stranger, and they happen not to be a stranger after all. So, man, all we need to do is just perpetually be in giving mode, starting with giving ourselves the love and the care. and the recognition that there is a genius within all of us that just waits for us to give the opportunity to come to the surface. And we become what we constantly focus on. So if we focus on something, if we study a subject, a topic for 5 years consistently, we become experts in that topic. So I believe I have a PhD in wealth creation from that 5 years investment and the subsequent application of that knowledge in really unlocking value for myself and my family and being the blessing to many, many people. It is a fantastic feeling. There is no price you can attach to that feeling. Feel like you are important, that you are adding value, that you are solving problems, that people feel comfortable to bounce ideas off you and you share your insights with them. It's a blessing. That's why I say the return on investing in yourself is infinite. You cannot put a price on it. Let me tell you a story. I bought a flat in 2002 from the late Azufari Mahwasani. And when I realized that Hannes Dreyer was inspiring me with this knowledge that generally was only known by white people, I felt helpless. I thought, when I sold that flat, I sold it, it was earning me good money. I was making positive cash flow and I was perpetually going to make positive cash flow. So it would have helped me reach my state of financial freedom earlier maybe. But I realized that I have this thing that is valuable, but I also have knowledge gap. And I remembered a scripture that said, in all your knowledge is supreme. So wisdom is supreme, get wisdom. But in all you're getting, get understanding. I sold that flat. I sat with 150,000 Rand profit from the sale of that flat. And one transaction, I didn't earn 150,000 in a year from government. I was still in the Western Cape working with the Department of Communications, ISA. I realized something. I can hold on to this money, enjoy the lifestyle it will afford me, and until it is finished. And then I'm back to square one. I can take this money and go and buy wisdom and commit to using that knowledge in my life to change my circumstances. That knowledge and the insights and the wisdom that comes from period of application, no thief can ever break into my house and steal it. But the things that money can buy, the luxuries, thieves can break through and steal them. Moth and rust can corrupt them. But the knowledge is mine forever. And if I am true to that knowledge and I constantly share that knowledge, because that is a precondition for keeping it. If I don't share it, I lose it. If I don't give it away, I lose it. So it's like a candle of mine that is lit. And you have candles, but they are not lit. What does it cost me to light all your candles with my candle? It costs me nothing. If I offer to light your candle and you reject it, I have lost nothing either, because my light is still on. And where there is darkness, that light will remove the darkness. So money, we must never hoard it. We must never hold it. We must give it away. This is why they say pay yourself first. I paid myself by paying Hannes Dreyer to teach me. Many people said, we are making the white man rich. He reminded us very clearly that he was already rich. He didn't need our money. And so we were not investing in him and making him rich. We were investing in ourselves so we can get the knowledge, apply that knowledge, solve the problems, economic problems, and experience true Black economic empowerment. That is not coming as a result of being connected to somebody who is in a position of influence or authority. This is the inside-out approach to development. Store not your riches where moth and rust corrupt and thieves can break through and steal. Store your riches in heaven where neither moth nor rust corrupt and thieves cannot break through and steal. It's in Matthew something. I'm sure preachers can tell me exactly which one. Lerato Duve. You are muted.
No, I think by the time you called my name, I was thinking you're one of those people that say in the Bible it says. So I know I'm one of those. But good evening, and sometimes sometimes we never get to say enough thank yous, and we need to take opportunity to thank people, one, while they're still alive, and two, for them to actually know that we appreciate the work that they do. And I know you are one person that I can call at any time and ask you to speak to a group of people and educate them about finances. And even today, I guess you did this out of your own accord and you educated us. And every time I listen to you, I remember the journey, because yes, you're one of those people that share. So you invited some of us to those platforms with Hannes Dreyer, and some of us joined you on the journey, but then we diverted to go where our passion and our vision was taking us. And we learn from you. And even today, I'm still one of your students, and I send a lot of the people to come and work with you that I work with, because I guess for me, I would like to, one, from this platform, say where there's a conversation on how we take the previous conversation on in redesigning the whatever is coming out of ESA, because I can't even say the new ESA, but when we're redesigning the new platform or birthing this new thing that we're coming up with, I would really like to be part of that conversation. Because the biggest thing that stops us from doing what we need to do is because we think we need money to do it. And once we open our eyes to see that we don't need money to do it, but that's also a paradigm shift, like a serious paradigm, that we are holding hands to actually make sure that we awaken people to change the paradigm, then get to understand they don't need the money. Then they get to understand that they're actually the biggest thing that ever happened and the best thing that ever happened on planet Earth. But I just wanted to say thank you, because I know I'm working with young people, and this year I've vouched that I'm going to work with people that just completed matric. Because I'm not sure if my level of patience is as good as yours to go below that. I tried with 17-year-olds, that's as low as I can go. But the ones that their parents bring to me to actually work with them and coach, and most of them are sent to you to understand how they're now going to take the first step in making sure that they're financially free before they're 25. And some of them have taken the call, and we see great work in South Africa, and especially in the formal auctions, because I wouldn't want to say semi-urban or whatever, but it's just our places where we grew up, and those formal auction places, we see tremendous change and big growth in the young ones that actually in dance program, because it's affordable. I mean, they can afford to go to Konka, and we don't even know where Konka is, but that for you to actually avail yourself and actually make your program affordable. I was even laughing when you said it's going up. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, maybe I'm one of those people that rip people off. But I understand also what is pushing you to do that. It's the love that you have for people to actually get the information and take their time in implementing it. And so the conversation about the new baby that's coming out of ESA, which will have a different name, and the trajectory in which it will take, I'd like to be part of the conversation of that. On any catch-up sessions that you guys are having, if it's not a boys club, but I know Maliapo is there, so
It's not a boys' club.
you know me and numbers and looking at
Yes.
balance, and
Yes.
always do that. But yeah, for as long as the conversation is open, would love to be part of that conversation, because I guess we need to sit on the redesigning, because majority of the time, as much as we know that we don't need money, we may think we can give money, but then it goes back to a paradigm to also look at trust. Who do we trust to drive the vehicle with the money that I'm investing in you? And that has held a lot of people back from working together. So the synergies that may come from this platform and taking all that we have invested in ourselves into a new platform and give it a different trajectory. I cannot imagine what the science industry will be like. I cannot even imagine what the space industry will be like, and what will come out of South Africa. I'm already excited, you can tell. I'm a dreamer and I'm a storyteller. So clearly I'm now starting to be innovative. But thank you a lot. And being here with us, I know I can be here the whole night with you. You know that too. But I thought, I promised my son that I'll log off and we'll play, I'm teaching him snakes and ladder. It's not something that he's into, but I thought it's something that we can do because we're improving his counting. He's only turning 8. So I needed to log off, but thank you. And thank you to everyone that logged in, and thank you to anyone that organized this session. Even if it's you, then thank you again. And thanks for recording, because then we can share wide and for people that are not even part of the WhatsApp group. But perhaps ISA can birth an economy that we thought we are going to benefit from by being employed, by actually becoming employers that are so diverse within the same industry, but so diverse to call on everyone and all the talents coming in together. You can imagine that that's bigger than an atomic bomb that has ever been designed by any country. And I think we can blow not only our minds, but flip, let me stop preaching, because then I'll start having to quote from the Bible and I don't know from where. But thank you so much, and thanks to everyone that logged in and the new friends that I just made offline. Thank you so much. I'm hoping to be in contact with everyone. Happy New Year, compliments of the New Year. And I love you all, as always. Thanks a lot.
I don't know why we shy away from quoting the Bible when we actually are created by the Creator God. When we begin to blend science, business, investments with biblical principles, it takes a totally different dimension. I wish Vido was here, but anyway, I love pastors. And my favorite is Mr. Sondlo. I call him Professor. He's actually the brains behind this whole thing. And I appreciate the opportunity, and I am very, very happy to be here. And I look forward to what will come out of this in spin-offs. But yeah, I look forward to bringing the world system on its head, and by simply just taking control of our minds. I see your hand is still up, Lara.
Yes, I wasn't saying we're shying away from quoting from the Bible.
Okay.
Because I haven't invested time in learning exactly where it's sitting.
Oh, yes.
Exactly where to go and quote. Because
Yes.
I guess by the time I went to ISA, I was not very young, neither was I very old. But there was a lecturer that believed that when you memorize numbers, you are like that monkey that was sent with the first satellite up into space, because it could do that. And so ever since that brainwashing, I've been staying away from anything that needs me to memorize it without going and Googling it up, because I could. But perhaps to save time and never to go into Google while one is rendering a talk, perhaps it is time to learn exactly where to go and quote in the Bible. But literally, the minute you understand physics and you understand quantum physics, and you get into this space of understanding yourself, it is by no coincidence that you actually even understand the principles of the teacher, the greatest teacher ever lived, which is Jesus Christ, who gave himself permission to implement every equation that ever has been created and any theory that ever came by, and then innovated to give us how you can apply that and get fruits out of it and every day live by it. Because the minute you do that and give yourself permission, stay out of the conditioning that was given to you and renew your mind, you get to understand why those that quoted the Bible did, those that wrote it did, documented in a way that it served them at the time and served everyone. And perhaps it is our time now to look at it differently in how we can then tell a different story so that the mind that has been captured not to understand its greatness can awaken to see who they are. And once we do that, with the 88% of population being that of the people that are inhabitants of this country and the originators of it for that matter, once we can do that, we don't need gold, we don't need diamond, we can flourish beyond that. So I agree with you. And I was just saying perhaps the second level is to make sure that we know where exactly to go and quote and put it into context within the whole book, not just the quotation. That we are able to start educating from the Bible in that angle such that people can know themselves even more. Because like you said, the first law is investing in yourself after knowing that you must want to do it. So yes, I want to do it. So good luck to you. All the best in your endeavors. And I'm happy to be part of that conversation. And I'll see you guys, all of you, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lerato inspires. Mr. Sondlo, Captain, my captain. IsiXhosa bathi mna ndigqibile ngoku. My cheap Xhosa that I learned from bad teachers. We can go on and on and on. I think let us end the session here, and then we move on to engaging through other platforms that are existing, and then we get to the promised land collectively. So, compliments of the new year, colleagues. Thank you for taking your time. But normally, Mr. Sondlo needs to close it with words of wisdom. You know, it's normally not good to have the last say. The elders must have the last say.
Then I actually don't intend to say anything, but I truly appreciate. I really appreciate it. And guys, if you, I mean, these are opportunities which don't come every day, and you know we have a unique opportunity here. And so here's my understanding. After learning what Dan could help us with, we would then be able to go and help others. That's the important part. Take what he teaches you over the period that he'll teach you on, and you go help others. Will have made a huge. Thank you very much, Dan. And thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.